You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood Redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live. Stand up, sit down, featuring in-depth discussion and interviews with stand-up comedians on the art of stand-up comedy. Black Hollywood Live. Hollywood Redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, Stand Up, Sit Down.
All right. How you guys doing? Welcome to another exciting episode of Stand Up, Sit Down. I'm your host, Nick Perdue, and I'm here with the hilarious, the talented, I almost want to say living legend because it's, you have an incredible body of work, Orlando Jones.
Thank you very much. What's happening, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. I think the last time I saw you was at Laugh Factory.
Yeah. You messed around, got on a hit TV show now.
Yeah, things happen.
So we're gonna start, like in the past a little bit, and we're gonna work our way up to the present now.
Okay.
All right. So because you're from Alabama.
Yep.
Right. And so, but you went to high school and you went to college in South Carolina.
Yes, I was born in Alabama.
Okay. So when did you move to South Carolina?
When did I move? Oh, wow. That was a great question from my parents. I was a kid. I think, my father coached college basketball. So born in Mobile, Alabama, Columbus, Georgia, Greenville, South Carolina when he was at Furman. So that's when we were first in South Carolina. And I guess I was about 4 or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So, most comedians are either like the bad kid or you're the class clown or like the nerd that got picked on.
Gotcha.
So which one did you follow, or did you even fall into any one of those?
I mean, I was probably more into sports at that time, so I'd probably say D, all the above or something. I'm not really sure. I mean, it's kind of hard to say because.
So were you funny growing up?
I don't know. I guess some people might have thought so. I always think those questions are kind of, I think, hard to answer a little bit because my perspective is my own, and other people might have a different perspective. So, I was always just very much me, and I think I have remained so very much my own thing. But growing up was always weird because I'm from down south. You know what I mean? So, and education down south. Traditional black parents. I'm like, you don't mess around in school unless you're trying to get all the black beat off of you. So
yeah, sure.
And I wasn't trying, to have that happen. So, school was something where you did your work and blah, blah, blah. And then you could go, act a fool with your friends, but, there were limitations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and now, like actually pursuing stand-up comedy, because you started, not too long ago, it was basically back in 2011 is when you really, right, when you really started saying, okay, let me get on this stage and do something.
Sometime around there, yeah.
So what was the catalyst, or what was the thing that made you say, you know what, let me tell some jokes?
I've written for stand-up comedians for years. I mean, I've been doing that for 15 plus years. So that part wasn't new. And I've written comedy and sitcoms and sketch comedy shows for a long time. So it's not exactly an alien thing for me. Writing comedy's been my job for a long time. But I think when my daughter was born, it's just. Becoming a father changes things, and it was a conversation I wanted to have. But I think mostly, in the acting side of my world, that's not me. I'm playing a character, and that's not necessarily what I think. That's what the character thinks, and I'm not telling you my story. I'm telling you somebody else's story. Whereas stand-up is your own story. So I think a desire to leave my daughter with my story rather than the story that has been a huge part of my career was my reasoning or what created the desire to want to do stand-up.
Okay. So your first show, right, ever doing stand-up comedy, what was that like? Where was it? How long did you do?
Oh, I did the Uptown Comedy Show. So I hosted the Montreal Comedy Festival, Uptown Comedy Show. And, about 8,000 people I think we did. Oh, no, that's not true. About 2,000 people I think we did, I don't know, an hour or something like that.
Was it funny?
Hard to say. You'd have to ask the audience that was there.
Well, I mean, because they laughed and it's like they gave you a good reception, right?
Oh yeah. They, people have been trying to get me, agents and stuff to go out and do stand up for years.
Yeah,
it's just not something I particularly wanted to do. So, but yeah, I mean, look, I had a great time. It was a great lineup. Yeah, Earthquake, Lavelle Crawford was there. Who else was there? Was Lonnie Love there? But it was a awesome stand up, and it was fun for me to host it. And at that time, I just wasn't interested in going on the road.
Okay. So now, have you bombed on stage?
No, I think everybody's bombed. Yeah, for sure.
What was your bombing experience like?
I really don't do it for them, so I really don't really give a fuck what they think. At the end of the day, it's a work in progress. All your shows suck. Nobody will be a worse critic of me than me. So that just kind of is what it is. That's not what it's about. I mean, maybe for some other people, that's what it's about, but it's not about that for me.
Yeah.
So, in terms, like I've had times where, you struggle through the set, man. It is what it is. Sometimes you're battling and sometimes you're not. So.
Okay. Now, do you feel that there's more pressure, seeing that you're Orlando Jones and you're not like just Orlando Jones, you're Orlando Jones with movie and TV in the sense that you have your credits, people know who you are, right? So it's almost like they know that you're funny, right? And so they expect you to be funny. So you feel like there's more added pressure for you to do well, on the live show, especially when people haven't seen you do stand up.
I don't know that I think it's more pressure. I think it's they don't know me. So, they know a character I played on a television show or a movie.
Yeah.
So we don't know each other. And I think that's really the thing. It's the getting to know you part of the process, because I'm not Dr. Lee, I'm not Clifford Franklin.
Yeah.
I'm not, I can Detective Lanka. I can name 50 different characters that they might have shown up there because they're like, oh man, I really like that dude in this or whatever, Mad TV or what have you. But those characters are characters. So I think it's difficult for them because they can never put more pressure on me than I put on myself. It's just not possible for them to do that. So you bomb. I mean, it's always ugly. When you're doing it, you always want to do well, but what you gonna do, man?
It's true. But now hecklers, though, because people like to take shots at comedians, but I feel that that people really like to take shots at celebrities.
They take shots at people who don't know what they're doing, or they take shots at people because they're drunk.
Yeah,
but they don't just. I mean, look, they can't win.
That's true.
So it's not like you really gotta people act like that's such a big deal. I don't really understand that. You got a microphone. They don't. If they're over on the left-hand side of the room, maybe 25 people can hear them if you play in a small room like a 350 or something.
Yeah.
So 300 of those people are better. Can I hear that person? Everybody can hear you. They can't win.
Yeah.
And if you give them enough rope to hang themselves, the audience wants you to take them out because they're a mob. So I think that's if you ain't got no act, you can mess with them. And some people just like that. Like, I have friends that are comedians that just love ripping apart hecklers. Like, they look to pick out somebody in the audience and do that.
Just to kind of get them riled up a little
bit. Yeah,
they
just like doing that. Like, some dudes just like doing that. And I get that. That's just, for me, that's not my most favorite thing. But, I've had them. Yeah, I mean, I shoot a warning shot if they keep going, But the worst hecklers are women.
Yeah.
Always. Because they think them titties make them safe. That's the problem. And I'm like, yo, this ain't gonna work out for you, boo-boo. So I'll tell you right now. So I had a girl down in Miami I'll never forget. She was just drunk and she was just rambling at the opener. And so as soon as I got on stage, I was like, yo, check this out. Don't make me embarrass you, okay? And she wouldn't listen. By the fourth or fifth time, I just had to stop. I was like, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at your punk ass daddy for fucking some ignorant bitch and making you.
That generally does it. Like that generally, okay, well, let me not,
No, that's why I started.
Oh, that's where you start. And she kept going.
Not after I was done, she didn't. She wanted to leave, but she was stuck in the front row. She thought she could take that heat. No, because I was like, I'm going to ignore you. I'm just going to go in on your family.
Oh, wow. So you really did it.
This how fucked up your family life is for your drunk ass to be sitting in the front row. Indiscriminately heckling. It's sometimes when somebody's heckling is fun.
Yeah.
Because they're having fun and you're having fun.
Yeah.
That's the worst ones, when you have a heckler who's just a fan. And he's drunk or she drunk. And they don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
And they don't get that the audience wants them to go sit down somewhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't like throwing those people under the bus so bad because they really, you know what I mean? Yeah. I kind of like, they helpless. They're little babes in the woods. You kind of leave them alone. But, every now and then you get somebody who act like they won't do something.
Yeah. Okay. Now, since you have this writing background, right? And so, writing sketch comedy, was one thing, and writing, comedy for TV is a totally different thing, and writing jokes is something totally different. So how do you write jokes? How do you write new material? And how do you construct your jokes?
I don't think that they are as different as the question might have suggested. You're telling a story. The story has a business attached to it, so there are different rules. Half hours, a 21 to 30-minute story. Hours, a 42-minute to 60-minute story. A film is a 72-minute plus story. Those are the mediums of a business, but ultimately telling a story. A song is a 3-minute story. Could be a 5-minute story. But a joke is a story. So it just depends on how long you want that story to be. And you get to play with the format of a joke in that you don't have to pay attention to the rules of the medium. And you can also talk about things that might not be a part of the mainstream's desires. So in that sense, you're just telling a story. And usually the first way you thought of it is the best place to start. And then you maybe tweak it from there. But the trick is just as soon as you think it, if that's what made you laugh, or that's what you said and people laughed, just write that down verbatim. And, I think that's probably the best way to start. And then everything else, it is what it is. Some come easier than others. Life.
Yeah.
There is no science to this.
Okay. And then, because, I've talked to other comedians, and, some people say that they write their jokes all the way out longhand. Some just have bullet points and whatnot. So what is your method?
Just what I said.
Just the longhand.
It depends on the story I'm telling.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't believe there is a method. I think that method is as individual as, the way different people get dressed in the morning, because to their eye, this is how they want to present themselves. So I think it's the same difference. What makes, Mitch Hedberg interesting is that it's only as Mitch Hedberg could do it, or only as Bill Hicks could do it, or or only as, Cosby could do it, where those pauses and those, eye rolls that Cosby does is gold. Somebody else might do that, and, you roll in your eyes. It is completely individual, and that's why the desire to, motherfuckers always want to try and pretend that some shit's like a formula. This shit ain't plug and play, yo. And the sooner people get over that, it's like, there's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? It's not like changing a tire. It's not 4 lugs on the wheel.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. So either you know that and that's what it is, or you don't. And, and you have to figure out your own way. And that's the toughest part about it, because it is your way.
Yeah.
Or you can copy somebody else's way that you love until you figure out your way. And, Eddie was certainly a person who did that. I mean, for years, he did Richard Pryor. That was his act.
Yeah.
And, he evolved that into, something else, something different, something new. So, I mean, it's not about these rules don't matter. You put in your time, you figure it out. And if you love it and you have a story you want to tell, like, hopefully it'll come your way. And or maybe it just ain't your thing.
Who do you look up to as a comedian? Like, who were some of the, because I know you just said, Mitch Hedberg and, Robin Williams over that. So who else do you really kind of study and look up to?
I mostly look up to God, and that's my favorite comedian. God is hilarious, yo.
Yeah.
Circumstances and situations, hilarious. Idol worship for mere mortals is not my thing. There are people who I'm fans of. Some you will know, some you won't know. Probably most you won't know. There are a lot of incredibly talented people out there who, a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
Who I love. And everybody's got their own thing, but that's kind of the fun of it. It's, you mentioned Patrice, who, I loved. He was, incredible, but he was Patrice. That was what's fun about it. I like Lil Rel. He's hilarious. I like Alex Scott. It's hysterical, I've known Patton Oswalt for a long time when he was writing on Man TV together. Funny. His partner at the time was a guy named Blaine Capatch, who he always used to go like that when he would tell a joke. Funny guy. I know a lot of guys that are funny in their own right, in their own way. You might like them, you might not. You know what I mean? But, I just appreciate a lot of different stuff because I'm a fan, just as somebody who enjoys watching people do their thing. You know what I mean? Ian Edwards, hilarious. I like a lot too. So, I mean, I can name people all day long who I like a lot. Owen Smith, hysterical. That, are people that people might not have heard of. And, Moms Mabley, you have to love as a jokester. And I think, and I think homage has to be paid to Bill Cosby, because though people obviously talk about, Red Fox and Richard Pryor, the game changer for comedy for African American males was Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. Nobody else close. Period.
Yeah.
But he's often not heralded as like the guy you want to be like. People always usually choose edgier people.
Yeah.
And forget the fact that this guy can do more with a raise of an eyebrow and without a curse word than most people can do in their lives, and there's something to be said for it. So I have a lot of respect for him. He gave me my first job, and if I was going to choose a singular person who I think you just got to tip your hat to, I think a huge part of my career is owed to Bill Cosby. My first job was on A Different World, which was a show that came after his show, The Cosby Show, and were it not for him, I'm sure, God willing, I would have got to be on another show. But in my life, he was the guy.
Up the first door for you.
He opened up the door for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to choose somebody, that I would say, if I got to choose a mere mortal, Cosby.
Okay.
Period.
Okay. See, now I feel like I have to go and just get some Jell-O, just on the way home now.
No, what you need to do is go and read back through all the insanity of what he had to go through to get to I Spy, and then
That's right.
how everybody passed on his television show and nobody wanted to make it. And then finally it got picked up by NBC, and it became a reinvention of the half-hour sitcom. Fuck the Pudding Pops. Get real with it, because there's something to know there. And there's something to respect there, as opposed to people pretending that he's just some angry old man who don't know nothing about nothing.
Yeah.
Which to some degree he might be, because there's a generational gap now. But his game was tight.
Yeah.
His game was tight. And if you look at old Cosby, he used to curse and talk a massive amount of shit. And that stuff is interesting to hear, the transition he was able to make. It's fascinating to check that out. I would recommend that over Pudding Pops. Not that I got anything against Pudding Pops, but they don't pay me to say nice shit about them.
I have some homework to do now.
I'm with you, B.
So you've performed, across the country, right?
Sure.
And so there's people have or comedians have talked about various cities and like which cities are better for comedy. New York has like it's grittier, it's a little edgier.
These are no-name comedians, right?
Well, yeah.
You know why that? I'm gonna tell you why I know that. You got to be a damn fool to say you like this city over that city, because how you think they're gonna react when you show up in that city? Like that is not the move.
But like audience wise, because like different cities have different type of audiences, and so because like they feel that.
But that's the job, yo. You can't look. I see guys that are funny in their city, and then they leave their city and it's death.
Yeah.
The job ain't entertain your mom and your friends. That's not it.
Yeah.
So you can't. That's a crutch. Like if that's what you're looking for, then don't jump your ass out here, because you just go. Yeah, I don't believe that. All cities are interesting. All those areas, regions of the world have different perspectives, and part of the fun is to figure out how to communicate with all those people, to connect with all of them, in a way that's both authentic for you and enjoyable for them. That is the core of the job. So for me, if that's what you're complaining about, that you like Philly over Boston, or you like, Alabama over Jersey, I'm like, really, dude? Like, go home.
Well, they feel people are nicer in various, and they won't boom them off the stage if they suck as bad.
And your point is,
they'll just be quiet.
And your point, like, really? Okay, so yeah, you want your mama to come hold your hand, cut the crust off your bread. That's what you want. You want people to be nice to you. They're a mob.
Yeah,
they behave as such. They're supposed to do that. If you don't know how to control that mob, then you got
the wrong business.
It's the wrong business for you. It's the wrong thing for you. Like, so, I mean, I enjoy the differences between those parts of the country, because I actually like, finding that thing that we connect on. That thing where, I'm like, nah, I don't mess with y'all on this because that's crazy, but I get it. I get it. I like that part of it. I think that's the most difficult part of it, in some ways the best part of it. But I definitely don't, I know that there are differences in the crowds. I've played all those rooms, but it's fun. Down south is not up north, and the Midwest is a whole nother beast.
Yeah.
And Southern California is something else, and South Africa is something totally different, and London something totally different. You know, and I've played all those places, and you know, I like them for what they are. You know, particularly South Africa because it's a crazy melting pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like wildly different. I mean, African American. Muslim, Indian, Asian. I mean, truly diverse. What this country will soon look like is, I think, what they kind of look like now. Yeah, they're just crazy mix.
Okay, I mean, I want to ask you this because, you know, there's been a lot of talk, especially with black comedians and black actors having to either take a gay role or having to, you know, wear a dress or whatever to really kind of make it in the industry. Mm-hmm. And so, one, do you feel that that's true? And then two, you know, how do you feel about that?
Do I think it's true that somebody made them put on a dress or play a gay role to, quote, make it?
Yeah.
No, that's bullshit. I mean, I've just never seen a studio executive walk down with a .45 caliber gun and put it to an actor's head and say, put on a dress. I've just never seen that happen. Mm. So, no, they did not make you put on the dress. You might have chosen to put on the dress because you knew how it could benefit you or not benefit you if, in fact, it worked. But did nobody make you put on a dress?
Yeah.
I mean, not in 2000, 1990 they didn't. I mean, if we talking about the 1600s or something, maybe Massa made you put on a dress. Run around the plantation. Put this straw on your hair. Yeah, you look like a blonde. You know, I mean, maybe you have some freaky shit going on there. I don't know, okay? But nobody made you put on the dress. And I think that's a misnomer that black men got to get over. That's complete bullshit, okay? Mm. Comedians who are friends who shall remain nameless, it's difficult to call a man handing you $50 million a racist. If so, I want to meet that motherfucking racist. Mm. That's a hell of a You got $50 million. Yeah. You are the best racist in the world. Please, I will mouth kiss this racist. Ooh. Oh, your juicy racist lips. Can I get another $50 million?
Second season.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't understand that. Mm. I understand, you know, that you look, it's show business.
Yeah.
And those people are paying you money for one singular reason because all business works the same. Because they think they can make more money than what they're paying you. That's pretty much NBA, IBM, Starbucks. If I pay this dude $7 an hour, he sells 78 coffees. I think I can make more than he's going to cost me. Ergo, I will pay him to do this so I can make more money. I mean, that is the whole nature of it. So I don't know what that complaint is about. That complaint is confusing to me. Mm-hmm. It is not as if the only roles available to African-American males is in a dress or a homosexual character, and I do not understand homophobia that way. Mm. I don't know how the sexuality of the character makes that character more or less, and I'm a little fucking tired of people pretending that it's okay to pretend that playing characters that might have a different sexuality than yourself somehow offend your delicate sensibilities and you call yourself an actor. I really don't get that. That doesn't make any sense to me. Love is love. So if this woman loves a woman and this man loves a man, that's who cares? I mean, really. Yeah. And I don't know how their love is any less than your love because you love someone of the opposite sex. So to diminish it that way and to pretend that they are somehow less than, for me, is the most egregious thing of all. There's no such thing as women's rights or gay rights. It's human rights. That's really all there is. So for me, to hear that said is a reinforcement of homophobia that I find vile and disgusting on its face. And I think that the notion of Martin Lawrence or Tyler Perry or Flip Wilson, to say that Flip Wilson's entire career was tied up in Geraldine is an affront to Flip Wilson as much as it is to Martin Lawrence, who certainly did not start his career that way, but Big Mama was a successful part of his career. So for me, you know, I hear ignorance all the time, but I definitely don't want to be a part of propagating that type of vile homophobia and ignorance. That's bullshit, and those people should be fucking embarrassed for themselves if you want to know what I really think.
Okay. So, real quickly, right?
You don't have to go quick.
Dante, well, there's something let's go quick. So
We're friends.
Dante, from the Dixie Whitworth show back on Mad TV, was that your character? Or was that something that was written for you?
You're talking about Dexter Wentworth.
Dexter Wentworth. Yeah,
Dexter Wentworth. No, that was me.
That was you?
Yeah, Dexter Wentworth.
Okay.
There was nothing to do in that bit, really, as far as I was concerned. It was clear what the bit was about, and that was what I wanted it to, the bit had a theme. It wasn't, you don't make random choices. Dixie Wentworth was a woman who had incredible amounts of plastic surgery.
Yes.
And was trying to hold on to this idea that she was this sex kitten, even though she had sort of destroyed herself with, her lack of self-esteem. But she held up a great face in the face of that, and she wanted to surround herself with a certain group of men. So Pool Boy was the half-naked dude who was an idiot, who came around and jumped around and did whatever her bidding was because he liked being on a television show, and he was sort of a puppet of Dixie Wentworth. And I understood that that's what the bit was, and I understood Mary's joke. I didn't want to play like the black Mandingo sex role, because that role had already been fulfilled by Brian Callen's character, Pool Boy.
Yeah.
And I kind of didn't want to play, like, I knew what she was going for, but I wanted to play comedically somebody who didn't care about that, and somebody who could sort of stand in the face of all of that and laugh at it. And I thought every Queenie gay guy I know would be like, oh, bitch, stupid boy. Fuck both of y'all. What, boo-boo, what? That just made me laugh.
Yeah.
So I chose the character because I wanted the type of character that could make fun of the insanity, because I felt like the sketch wouldn't work unless it had an audience point of view, like how to have an audience point of view. So as a storyteller, I was like, yo, I need a character who is in this world, can laugh at this world, but not make fun of this world. And so On the Steel Drums became Dexter. Yeah. And she would point to him and he would be like, cool, bitch, now go back to the dumb shit you're doing and make sure you have my check ready. So where that bit actually came from was Driving Miss Daisy.
Ah, okay.
In Driving Miss Daisy, there was all this controversy about Morgan Freeman, one of the most incredible actors ever, playing this role of being a driver at this one, Miss Daisy. And I used to do a joke about it that went like this. There's a point in the movie where she's in a insane asylum, and she says, Hawk, you my friend, Hawk, ain't you? You my friend. And it's a really tender moment in the movie, and they kind of hold hands, and he feeds her pie. And I thought, he your friend as long as you paying him that $75. You love me, Hawk? I sure do love you, Miss Daisy. I'm your friend, Hawk. Yes, I am. Long as you paying me the $75, Miss Daisy. You start paying me the money. I don't know you, Miss Daisy, but long as you got my money, we
best friends.
We best friends, Miss Daisy. Long as you paying me the $75. So that was Dexter St. Croix. As long as you paying me the money, I stand up in this Speedo and beat these drums, and we play all the games you want, and Pool Boy and whatever. Don't step left as long as you paying me my money. So I saw Dexter St. Croix as a strong gay character because, I have family members who are gay, and, they don't seem any less human than anybody else. Yeah. And I never seen them take shit off of anybody. So I just came up with Dexter St. Croix.
Okay, and because you've done some stuff online now, especially like most recently with Meridian,
sure.
And the Tony Gore campaign, which I thought was hilarious,
fun.
So and just really quickly again, because there's these internet comedians who are really starting to kind of blow up and stuff like that, really doing the Vine and the Instagram video and stuff like that. Yeah. Versus there's some stand-up comedians who feel that these people aren't as funny because they can go back and they can edit this and they can edit that and they can make it perfect before they deliver it, versus going on stage to where everything has to be, like there's no delete button on stage.
Yeah, I don't know what they're mad at. I don't get that part. To me, I mean, that's like, were you mad at Denzel Washington? I mean, I don't understand. Yeah. They're different mediums. They're different things. So I don't know why you should be mad at a guy because he's an internet comedian. I mean, he's taking the tools he's got to tell his story. I mean, good for him. I mean, it's not stand-up. Stand-up is sort of a completely different beast, but a lot of those internet comedians bomb when they get up in front of an audience.
It's true.
So I don't know why you'd be mad at them, because they have a different skill set than you, and it doesn't make their art any less significant than yours. Yeah. They're just different things. you know, apples and oranges.
And then, because you've done drama and you've done comedy, right? And so you're currently doing drama right now with Sleepy Hollow. That's on Fox. You know, because one of my favorite characters was Clifford Franklin from The Replacements. I'm gonna hit you with a quote just really quickly.
Go.
The football is like a one-man cold to Clifford Franklin. Clifford Franklin
the
is
only one catching it because he the only one coming down with it.
Will we see you in comedy? Because I miss funny Orlando Jones.
That's part of why I did Tainted Love, because I wanted to do a graphic novel action comedy and, you know, do comedy in that in a way that made this, you know, that was in keeping with what my skill set is.
Yep.
And yeah, so I mean, obviously you can go to taintedlovemovie.com and click on episodes and see that now. We do the film next, but yeah, I mean, comedy changed though. You know, it became more like dodgeball. It became broader in a lot of ways, and that was never really my strong suit. It's something I could do, but it was really something I didn't necessarily want to do. I mean, I remember before, you know, Bernie passed, God rest his soul. You know, I loved Bernie, the way a lot of people did, and it used to really infuriate me when Bernie would do a movie, particularly in the early days, and just be hilarious, and people would talk about how he was like a coon, bugging his eyes, and I remembered having that same type of thing where I'm like, yo, these are the eyes God gave me. You got a problem with that, then you need to take that up with somebody else. But, you know, to pretend that he was a buffoon, to me was really racist.
Yeah.
And as a person who I felt received his fair share of those racist comments as well, that people just sort of let go. You know what I mean? Like, Stephen Holden, who, you know, from New York Post, has said some truly racist shit about me to the point where I was like, if I ever see that motherfucker, like, it was like that. Because I was like, a buffoon? Like, really? Really? Like, seriously? And I always thought it was strange that when white comedians would do stuff that was broad and stupid, no one ever entered buffoon into the conversation.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that that's always been a stigma that you have to fight against so much, but I don't believe that we are handicapped and they're allowed to run wild. And I think that's just watching racism play, you know, play in this business, you know. And I think the first time I ever saw it was with, you know, Eddie Murphy, when Eddie Murphy did Boomerang, which Reginald Hudlin directed, and people were like, oh, he's not as funny as he used to be. And I'm like, but you didn't say that about Steve Martin when he did Roxanne. Yeah. So he took the King Tut thing out, took the arrow off the head. Everybody was cool when he stepped into a romantic comedy and understood that, you know, he was making a transition. He was growing. But as soon as Eddie did that, everybody tried to crap all over him. So, you know, I always feel like there is still very much a battle and a stigma that goes along with that. And, you know, I enjoy all parts of it, you know what I mean? But I definitely think that as we grow and transition and become hopefully better at what we do, and you know, we'll get the opportunity to do so the way I believe others are allowed to more openly in the business. And I think that's really the most horrible thing to deal with. But I can honestly say I think women deal with it far worse than we do.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for coming through. Do you have anything to plug? Shows? Can people see you live before the year is up?
Yes. I'll, you know, hit on my Twitter. I'm at the Orlando Jones on Twitter and Instagram, at the Orlando Jones, Orlando Jones Official on Facebook, Tumblr Orlando Jones, OrlandoJones.com. If you go to any of those, we'll start posting the new dates. I'm buried in Sleepy Hollow right now, but I'm definitely going to do a couple shows, probably for the holidays, New Year's. But yeah,
I'm just throwing out the December 29th. Come down to John Lovett's, you know.
Oh, that's right. You're doing John Lovett.
A guest set. It is my birthday show. I'm just throwing it's on camera now. So
birthday. Look, well, how about if I'm in town and I can make it, all love, I'll be there.
That'll work, sir.
Nick,
thank you for coming through.
Anytime, man. Good to see you, bro. Love what you're doing.
Too. Thank you. Thank you guys for watching. Again, you can find me all over the internet at The Nick Purdue. See you next time.
The Nick Purdue.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Dario Kristen, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network. If you have questions or comments, tweet us at BHL Online or email us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. For more exclusive content, visit blackhollywoodlive.com. This has been a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network.
Hollywood redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.